Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And what a day one of CDL at stage 4 we have had today. Two very interesting matchups certainly, especially the final series, but also the first series was kind of spicy as well. Enjoy to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you were new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, mentioning this from Crone. Checkmate Search and Destroy officially removed from League Play. Just do love to see it indeed. Now of course what that does mean is Standoff will be coming into the rotation. We saw it played twice today. Very interesting implications of this, right? Because we talked the other day, Standoff coming in for Checkmate. What does that mean for some of these teams that are very good at Checkmate, for example, FaZe, for example, OpTic, and maybe won't be so good at Standoff, for example? We saw two teams today, which, well, should be very good at Search and Destroy indeed, not have great results on Staff. Maybe they'll turn that around over time. But this, honestly, especially if Standoff's going to be continuing to be played as much as it is today, then seems like massive implications, to be honest, for how these teams may fare going forward. And also these meta changes, seeing more Krigs on the map, the Krig being even more powerful, that may be affecting some of these squads as well. As Lado says, you know, please allow us to see Standoff Search and Destroy at least once today. Indeed, we get it twice. Great to see, to be honest, there were some great moments on this. Just a shame, to be honest, that some of these maps didn't go a little bit longer. Very much one-sided. This was the first series of the day, Atlanta FaZe versus Paris Legion. Paris actually looked pretty damn good in this series, all things considered. They make the change, of course, Zaptius comes in, and yeah, they look much improved. You kind of have to wonder whether this new meta, actually, the fact that maybe the Krig's more overpowered than it used to be, now means that a team like Paris with a lot of assault rifle players on their squad that like to sit back and relax a little bit can have an easier time, I suppose, on some of these maps. I mean, look at this map mode combination, by the way. We got Garrison Hardpoint first up, then every other map here was from originally Black Ops 2, right? Which, I mean, just remastered the dab game at this point. But still, honestly, I guess we can't really complain at the end of the day. These are some good maps. So game one goes the way of FaZe. This was, well, closer than I was expecting. Early on, FaZe just dominated proceedings. Simp was like 20-8 to start things up, but then Paris brought it back. They had some nice moments. I mean, Scrap started off like 0-5, then he popped a nice 3-piece, and it felt like, okay, Paris are going to find their way back into this game. But then Sim right to the very end went a monster kill. He got an incredible 3-piece, to be honest, over towards this final P2 hardpoint, face it up the spawns, and well, they don't get broken from the back, and FaZe close out this game 250-211. But then the series goes, well, somewhat haywire for the guys at FaZe, because we head to a Standoff Search and Destroy. If this had been a Checkmate, for example, which was in the map set before, you'd have said that FaZe would take this pretty much every single time. However, it well, doesn't happen this time around. FaZe get completely blown off the map right here. As well, Mutant is saying, reply, what about it? Well, Crone is calling for a timeout right here with a Seattle Search say, you love to see it. We'll talk about this a little bit more in a second with the clapback that FaZe and then Arcitys comes out with in a couple of minutes time. But yeah, Scrim says, welcome to the guild, because Arcitys goes 0-6, doesn't drop a kill on this map. I think they get 6-1'd by the Paris Legion. Pretty impressive stuff, and I think maybe this happened on Checkmate or one of the other maps. Sometimes you'll see FaZe go to a map and they seem to be somewhat unfamiliar with it. They'll put some time in. We saw it with Express, certainly. They were very woeful on that map early on, and then they turn things around, bring some strats to the table. So I certainly think FaZe can be a very good Standoff Search and Destroy team, but interesting to see the two favourite teams getting demolished on Standoff early on, showing that certainly they still need some work on that map. But it was great to see some 1v1, some great moments, bombs being planted at both bomb sites, incredible scenes, to be honest, and pretty intense rounds. So yeah, I just wish we got to see more rounds, because these games were very one-sided indeed today. And as Arcitys says, Seth, you and I are a prestigious group, if you ask me. I'm all in. I think even maybe Cellium had a 0-6 performance as well, and Formal also has had one, so definitely a prestigious group of players that have dropped a donut so far this season. And well, this was how it finished off in the end, a 6-1 demolition job really from the Paris Legion. Cellium couldn't quite clutch this round at the death. Scraps manages to take him down, and well, he tried his best early, but it goes a 1-1 series, and FaZe definitely do not have the easiest time by any means getting over the line here. I think they win their 5th control in a row to take down the game 3, and then as we will look at right now, and well, of course, the Search and Destroy doesn't go so well. I guess we can continue to touch on this, because Scraps goes 8-1, and the combination between Scraps and Temp is 18-5, and Arcitys drops the donut, as he then points out after they end up winning the series on the stream right here. So pretty entertaining stuff, all things considered. And then, well, he continues on a bit of a rampage on the timeline that we will have a look at in just a couple of seconds. But they go into the control, and well, Cellium seals the deal. Raid control is just not a map that FaZe like to lose. They really do not like to lose controls in general. Very, very solid across the board. But Paris did put up a fight, right? You've got to say that this group, I mean, obviously the league is incredibly competitive. And last time, maybe not the last time these two teams played each other, but that was the first series that FaZe already tested in during their run right at the start of the season, was against Paris Legion when Fire was on the team. Of course, their team now is somewhat different, with Classic not there anymore and Fire not there anymore. Of course, they made a couple of changes, but still, they put up a fight in this series, shows that maybe they do have some signs of life still in this group. And as we were talking about earlier today, the ideal series for them to go into, to be like, okay, if we lose, because we've lost to FaZe at the end of the day, the best team in the game, and now they can kind of go on from here. And maybe if I'm in a Seattle Surge right now, I'm thinking, okay, hang on a second, Paris is a little bit scary. That was the win I was hoping to at least accrue in this group, with, in addition to, of course, some other ones. They go to a final at Hardpoint as well, and FaZe closing out. Was not convincing by any means. I mean, here on the raid, it was very much down to the wire, but FaZe break in, they clutch up. This is what they tend to do, even though they do get pushed the distance. They're just too good to not get over the line in some of these series. But it was a close fought affair, all things considered. So FaZe just about get the job done. And interestingly, as well, as FaZe point out right here, they've officially now clinched playoffs. There were some kind of strange situations going on where, of course, like FaZe weren't going to not make champs, right? Of course, only the top 8 teams make the World Championship. But as Lean Toss Up Sports saying right here, the most amount of points the Gorillas can now get is 340 if they win every single series for the rest of the season. And there was probably some like weird situations where somehow all the other teams could like win all the series they had to, and FaZe lost every single series for the rest of the season, and they didn't get to champs. But now it is officially confirmed that there's no way they can place 9th in the CDL standings, even if they lose every single series for the rest of the entire season. This then is for Paris Legion's stage going forwards. They play Rokkr, they play Thieves, they play OpTic. Not easy by any means. They finish off against Surge, but certainly they look better today, so I wanted to give credit where it is due to a change that actually may take this team in the right direction. But then again, FaZe sometimes come out slow at the start of stages. Maybe they were a little bit lackluster today, and actually they'll continue to perform much better than they did in today's match. This then is some of the spice hits the timeline, because the CS will come back and say initially to FaZe when they lose that map, you love to see it. And of course, like, Seattle are at the bottom of the standings anytime they talk trash in the timeline, which we do love to see. But when this kind of stuff happens, of course, they're going to get clowned on it a fair bit. That does indeed happen from FaZe. They whip this out right here, looking down at the phone, and we see Atlanta FaZe at top now at 350 points, and Seattle down here at the bottom. And Prestinni and Simp come in reply, Jesus man, my brother plays for you guys, sorry about them, they ruined the fun. All good man, that's on me. Shouldn't have given them the content to work with in the first place, says Prestinni. Just do not lose the map, just gotta get better. Of course, Prestinni won the World Championship with Simp and Arcitys just a couple of years ago on that United squad. Arcitys was certainly having a good time as well in the post-series interview, and this is what Gunless comes out and says. Of course, they're good friends, right? So it's not like beef or anything, but did think the responses were kind of funny given that, Seattle talking a little bit of trash in the timeline. Gunless tweets out right here, the whole James Bond stuff, given that he dropped 0 kills, not quite a 007, but almost close, certainly worthy enough to join the agency as some other players have done. But as Arcitys says, I was looking at like your CDL points, not pretty at all. And he misses on standoff, but certainly not on the timeline. Some funny responses to this as well. As Gunless says, like, you're not wrong, I'm kidding, I love you, man. But still, Seattle obviously not in the greatest spot. And when as soon as they start to talk any trash on the timeline, immediately the hammer starts coming down from some of the FaZe guys, the social media guys, but also the players themselves. Let's talk about this final series of the day then. That was Toronto Ultra versus the Florida Mutineers, and a very interesting one, because Mutineers, for some reason, I guess teams have been banning it against them, but they haven't played Raid Hardpoint in a long time. But I always remember they were so good at this map. You guys might remember that crazy start that Skies had way back in the day, maybe stage 2 or something on a map like Raid Hardpoint. I forget exactly who they were playing, but clearly Toronto are very good at this map as well. They 250 to 14 Los Angeles Thieves on this map not too long ago, but they come out very slow in this series. Mutineers get the job done in game 1, and then we head to a standoff search, which is very much a wild card, right? And again, you maybe look at the Mutineers, and I do wonder exactly which teams will benefit from. It's not exactly like a meta change per se, but just the Krieg being a little bit stronger, maybe favouring some teams over others. So maybe Mutineers are one of those squads, but they certainly looked a lot better today. And in addition to the Paris Legion, maybe that happens, right? If you're one of those teams that's really on the cusp of not making champs, you've got to turn up now. You've got something to lose, but you've kind of got to go all out at this point. Then maybe you've been taking these last couple of weeks of practice much more hard than some of these top teams have that feel relatively comfortable in their position right now. And then they go on to lose the Search and Destroy as well, get demolished on standoff to the Ultra. Some of these rounds they certainly should have won. I don't understand what mistakes these guys were making. It was honestly pretty embarrassing to see, like 4 versus 2s, twice in 3 rounds they lost. The first round especially just getting picked for no reason at all, getting picked apart. Not even any trades in sight. Definitely I need to get used to playing standoff. Those guys do, because certainly the rotations and the trades there on the defenses especially were nowhere to be found. And after they lose this map, they've officially lost more maps in that series already. They go on to lose the game 5 as well in that one series that they lost in the entirety of group play last time around. In group play in stage 3, they were 15-1. The only map they lost was a Raid Hardpoint to Minnesota Rokkr in that group, and that was a Florida Mutineers in that group as well last time around. So they've already lost more maps in 0 and 2 in this series than they lost the entirety of last stage. That of course is a credit to how good they are as a team, but also what a big impact this was, and what a big upset, to be honest, this was for the Ultra. However, Ultra are not a team that goes down without a fight by any means, right? They bounce back in a very impressive fashion here on the raid control. They take it to a game 4. They clutch up on this one as well well on Moscow. It was very much down to the wire. Felt like Mutineers might have the advantage at some points, but CleanX makes a phenomenal play to stay alive in the back, and it takes his time to such an effect that Ultra managed to close this one out and take it to a game 5, and it felt like the momentum was really in their favour. However, Mutineers bounced back, and once again this kind of strange search and destroy we're seeing from Ultra right. This is a pretty big defeat for them, especially given the fact that that group is not easy by any means at all down there. Maybe we'll look at that in more detail tomorrow, but also go up 3-0, Insight's going off on the main stage early on, and then Mutineers just rattle off 6 straight. That's something that can't really be happening, certainly a defeat that they weren't expecting to suffer the guys on the Toronto Ultra, and massive implications, to be honest, all things considered, because that group is absolutely stacked down there. You've got New York Subliners, you've got the Dallas Empire, you've got Mutineers looking good, you've of course got Los Angeles Guerrillas, and once again, Los Angeles Guerrillas and the London Royal Ravens, both teams as well. London have made a change, of course, and both those teams are in a similar situation to Paris. You could argue, and Mutineers in a sense. They're like, okay, backs against the wall, we've got to go hard right now to actually get something to happen. And Ultra certainly need to turn things around very quickly if they are going to qualify in the top 3 for this bracket, because it's not going to be so easy, right, with some of the other very talented teams in their pool. But credit to Havoc, put on an absolute performance today. I mean, he had a 2.0 in the search and destroy, 1.23 overall KD as they do close out this series in a 3-2 fashion. Very interesting stuff, and it's only day 1 of what is, I'm sure, going to be a phenomenal stage 4 of the CDL, ending, of course, at a LAN environment. Do tweet your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. If you enjoy this content, other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.